Hi everybody and welcome to DIYing to Craft. My name is Sabrina and I'm so happy you're here. If you're finding my channel for the first time, I hope you'll stay connected by liking, subscribing, and clicking the notification bell. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. Help me grow here on YouTube by liking, subscribing, and sharing with your friends. Now it's time to craft. DIY number 1. Today I'm decorating rocks. As you can see, this one already had a design on it. It said, "What up?" with a Marvin the Martian character on it. My mom decorated it for me 20 or so years ago. It's seen better days, so I decided to give it a makeover. I'm using the white Bear primer shown on the screen and an inexpensive paintbrush to cover the entire rock. Once the paint dried, I went through my napkin collection to find a pattern I liked. Since I'm thinking of spring, I selected these flowers and I'm going to attach them with Mod Podge. Using a bit of painter's tape, I separate the plies. I didn't care if this had creases from the fold since the rock isn't entirely smooth, but if you do, you could briefly iron the napkin before applying it to the rock. I used some cling wrap to smooth out the napkin without getting my hands all sticky. As I attached, I applied more Mod Podge as needed. There are spots that I needed to straighten out a little bit, so I did that as I was applying the Mod Podge. It's pretty heavy, this rock, so I tried not to move it around too much, but I did pick it up just a little bit to get it underneath the rock, just a bit. I didn't do the full bottom of the rock, but just the edges. I kind of just measured out other pieces of the napkin to match up the spots that needed to be filled in using more Mod Podge. I ripped up little chunks and then kind of just gave them a little bit of a jagged edge just by ripping off little bits and pieces as I saw fit. And since this rock was pretty heavy, you do see me moving around the table rather than moving the rock itself. Once I liked the way everything was situated, I covered the entire rock with Mod Podge. I could have used a bigger brush, but I already had this one full of glue, so I went ahead and just used it. Wanting more to this design, I decided to add some butterfly stickers. I believe these were originally purchased at Dollar Tree, although they're probably a couple years old. I just placed these where I felt they looked good. If I were to do this again, I would probably have used Mod Podge on the bottom of the stickers also, or maybe even a glue stick to attach it. Even though they are stickers, they did have an adhesive. I did end up having some pieces pop up, so I had to use Mod Podge and just stick it back down. Ultimately, I do seal the rock with a spray sealant, so they will stay down. If you're liking this video so far, please leave me a comment and also consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with your friends. I wanted to know how much this rock weighed, so I got my scale and found out it's 19 pounds. Here's the finished product. DIY number 2 is thankfully a smaller and less heavy rock. I coated this rock in the same bare primer as the first rock. The image I'm using is from the back of this 2023 Dollar Tree calendar. I just cut it out. I'm using packing tape to thin out the calendar image. Since this was from the back cover of the calendar, it's thicker like cardstock, and the packing tape allows me to peel off a layer, kind of like how we remove plies from a napkin. I just smooth it out on there using the little Cricut tool to kind of scrape it and peel it away. I try to be careful because I don't want to rip the center of the image out. But if you rip along the edges or something like that, that's fine. And the packing tape didn't get all of the shiny backing, so I do apply a little bit more to pick up what was left behind. And with that removed, now I'm just going to rip the edges so it doesn't have such a crisp edge. That's why it didn't matter if you rip the edges a little bit with your packing tape. Holding it up to the rock, I see there's a couple spots I need to rip out, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to attach it all with Mod Podge. Now I'm going to paint these little pebbles. They came in a bag. I don't remember if I got them from Dollar Tree or if I got them from Walmart, but they're just teeny little pebbles. Using a bit of packing tape, I'm going to reverse it so that sticky side's on the back of the pebbles themselves to keep it from moving around while I'm painting them. And I'm just going to paint the entire rock black. Can you guess what they're going to be? I'm going to make little teeny bees out of these rocks. Taking them off of the painter's tape, I paint the other side. I kind of wish I would have put them back on the painter's tape so they didn't move around as much, but I made do. Now I'm just using some chalk paint to paint them yellow. If you were going to do this, you could use any yellow paint that you might have on hand. I just happen to have chalk paint. I'm just giving little stripes so that it looks like a bee. And put the stripes on all of the pebbles so that I have 3 little bees to put on my rock. Now I was looking around my craft room to try to figure out what I could use for wings for these bees, and I happen to have a water bottle, so I thought I would try it out. It's kind of hard to see it on camera because the water bottle's clear and I don't have a dark backing here, but I stick it on that piece of painter's tape that's over there, so that one, you can kind of see it a little better, and two, it's easier to cut. And I'm just cutting like an 8 pattern, so kind of what I think bee wings look like. So a couple of elongated round sections or oval sections, and then a little divot in the center. I'm just rounding up the edges. And then I decided that was a little thin, so I looked around for some other plastic pieces that I had. I'm not quite sure what this was from. I think it's like a little corner piece of something. So I cut a strip out of that. And then again, just like I did with the water bottle, I'm going to cut like a figure 8 kind of design in it, I guess. Couple of elongated ovals with a little divot in the center. Still attached. Just kind of imagine what bee wings would look like. And then I bent them in the center at the narrowest spot, just so that they look like wings. And I'm going to glue the wings onto the bees. I first used super glue, but I found that it did not hold. So I had to go back later and use some E6000, which did hold. So if you were going to do this, I would just skip the super glue and go straight to the E6000. And now I'm going to use E6000 to attach the bees to the rock. I just kind of find a placement that I like and glue them on. And because it's E6000, it doesn't set up right away, so you can see the first bee that I placed is kind of spinning. He ended up staying. Here's the finished product. DIY number 3 is thankfully the smallest of the 3 rocks. This one I just decided to paint black using some chalk paint. And using these colors, I've decided to do just like a polka dot design. I didn't really have any plan in place when I started. I kind of just went with it. And you see I have a number of different paintbrushes here. They were all chosen because the bottom of the paintbrush had a different size. So I've got some small little polka dots. I've got slightly bigger ones. But it just kind of came to me in the moment. I didn't really have a set plan. I really enjoy the colors that I chose. I've got kind of an orangey yellow, a couple of other shades of yellow, and a red tone. To me, I feel like those are very earthy fall colors, and that's my favorite season, so that's what I went with. Do you like to decorate rocks? Will you try any of these 3? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Please share anything you've done and what you think of these 3 rocks. And if you're enjoying this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and possibly sharing this video with your friends so that they can enjoy also. So this pattern is just coming together. Just some polka dots all around it. Nothing pre-planned. And what a fun little thing that you could do with your grandkids, your kids, just to relieve stress in your own day. Just take a moment and do something as simple as a small little pebble. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to have a ton of painting talent, because I certainly don't, but I can make a polka dot. And when I'm done with the painting, I sealed all the rocks with this glaze. Here is the finished product. And here are all of the rocks that I did today. Thank you so much for watching.